Thank you for coming. I think this is one of the biggest sessions we had so far. So as we transition away from Portfolio, all students' work already submitted will be moved into Folio feature in Canvas. So one of the big differences is that Folio is now part of Canvas. It is not a separate product like ePortfolio or Portfolio was. And just as with Portfolio, students will still be able to submit the artifacts on their own. The embedded assessment relies on the individual course instructor to assess students' work. So faculty who teach a course with an integration learning outcome will use short Canvas rubric that's already built. We'll show you how to attach it to assess students' learning. That rubric does not need to be part of the assigned grade, although that's an option. However, that scored rubric will automatically be collected and used as a part of the assessment for the learning outcomes. So this process saves a lot of time because on the back end is more automatic and automated. This will also, for what academic affairs, things will help learning goals become more explicit for students, exponentially increase the amount of student work that is assessed, and also allow for an ongoing and regular collection of the assessment data. So with that, I will switch to Kathy. She will show you how the process works, and then we will switch to my account so you can see how things look on a student end and how to grade it, and we'll leave some time for Q&A towards the end.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and bring up Canvas here. Okay, so I'm going to walk through adding the assignment. You'll see that the biggest change is you have less to do on your part, and the students have a little bit more to do. And then Adam will kind of go through and show you what the students are doing from their end. So you'll go into your assignments just like before, and I'm going to add an assignment. And I'll put in the name. And you might want to indicate in the name which this is for. So is this for writing, common good? And that just helps the students to identify it in their folio. So you could add that to the name. It's not required. I just think it's helpful. And then they're going to actually be attaching a link to the project, to the paper they have in their folio. So in the directions, I also like to put, please attach your link here. Attach the link. And then as you scroll down, so the points piece, we mentioned that a little bit. You can make it worth points and still grade it in the grade book like normal. But if you wanted to create a separate assignment, so I'm going to show you once we create this, how to add the rubric in for the integrations curriculum, add the criteria in. If you wanted to have two separate assignments, one that just has the integrations rubric and then one that you use, then you can say don't count towards the final grade and make this worth 0 points. But for now, I'm going to leave it at 10 so I can show you how you would grade it if you wanted to use it that way. The submission type will be online. And here's the biggest change. Usually you do the file upload, but you're going to choose website URL because the students are going to actually attach a URL to their project. If you wanted them to have more than one attempt, let's say they have to do a draft first and then another one, you can say unlimited or you can limit the attempts. And then same with like group, peer review, and then your due dates and who it's assigned to. I'm going to assign this to our Makerspace account because that's the account Adam will be using to upload in. So I'm going to assign it to the Makerspace and I'm going to save and publish. And it's just warning me that I didn't include other people. That's fine. So at this point, once I save and publish, now I can attach the rubric. You'll notice at the bottom here, I have the plus rubric. So if you've used rubrics before, this will be familiar. I'm going to choose plus rubric. As I scroll down, this is where you could create one, but we actually want to find the rubric. The committee put together a bunch of different rubrics for the different criteria. So I'm going to select the find rubric. On this left-hand side, any rubric that you've created for an assignment will be listed here. What you'll want to choose, though, is the CSB+SJU. You'll notice there's 33 different rubrics. So the thing with this as well that I want to point out is you can choose whichever rubric this is for. So if this is analyzing text or collaboration or common good, you can choose those. But if you're using this assignment for more than one, like let's say it's common good and cultural and social identity, there's a rubric that has all of these in, and you can just delete out the criteria you don't need. So I'm going to scroll down and find that one to show you how you do it that way. I don't want to scroll too fast to make you dizzy, so I'll just go slower. Oops. I'm not finding it. Here we go. So this one you'll notice has the 12 criteria, the learning integrations. That's the one that has all of the different criteria. So I'm going to use that rubric. So I select it and I choose use this rubric. Now you'll see that rubric listed, but let's say I'm not using it for all the different ones. Let's say, because you'll see there's speak, write, and so forth. I can delete any of the criteria that I'm not using. And it just seems a little bit easier than going and choosing criteria, going back and choosing another one. So I'm going to edit this rubric with the pencil at the top right. And I'm not using the speak to, so I'm going to choose the trash can icon by all of the speak to. I'm going to leave the right on here and the common good, because let's say this is for both of those, and then I'll get rid of the rest. And you'll see it's easy. I can delete the criteria that I don't need, and I'm going to update the rubric. So now I have my rubric attached here. I can always go back and edit it. Let's say I forgot to add, I took out some criteria that I wanted in here. I can still go to edit this rubric with the pencil. I can go back to the bottom here and find an outcome. And then notice I have all my different outcomes here. And let's say, oh, I should have left analyzing text in. I can go ahead and add it into this rubric. But when you do it this way, it adds one at a time. So that's the advantage of adding the rubric that has all the criteria, is you add it all at once and you just delete out the ones you don't need. Below this, you'll notice there's different options. Leave all of those unchecked. We found that if you check some of those, it really goofs up the rubric and the grading of it. So I would just leave all the defaults as they are and update the rubric. And now the assignment is ready. I have the rubric attached, and that's what I would do from my end. So now I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to Adam so he can show you from the students and what they need to do next.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, so I am in pretending I'm a student in my account. So I'll go to my course. I will go to my assignment. I didn't see assignment, Kathy. Did you submit that or did you save it? Oh, Kathy, I think you muted.
Yep. Are you in the Makerspace account, Adam?
Yes.
Okay. Let me just double check because
yep.
It is published under assignments. It's an assignment portfolio. Yep, it's assigned to you.
Huh. Okay. Well, let me sign out quickly, and then we'll see.
Yeah, because it's in here, it's published and assigned to Makerspace. Under assignments, it's called assignment.
Oh, okay. Whoops, I'm under Canvas test account. That's a different one. Oh, I'm in the wrong account. Sorry, my fault.
It's okay.
Oh, we'll go to Makerspace. Okay, so I'm in a Write account right now. So I'll go to my my assignments, and I have this wonderful paper which I wrote the day before the assignment is due, and I need to submit it to my folio. But before I show you how to submit it, this is a little bit confusing, hopefully for now. Because folio is part of Canvas right now, what students will have to do, in fact, you can do it too. When you click on the account, you will see e-portfolios and folio. So we talked to Canvas, and from what they told us, eventually they'll need to merge e-portfolios and folios as a one link or one part of Canvas. But for now, don't worry about e-portfolios. Make sure students will go to folio. So I'll go to my folio. And if I want to import all my project from a portfolio, I can do it. But in this case, I'll start a new project. And I can upload multiple files, whether it's PDF, Excel, PowerPoint, Photoshop file, pretty much any file type can be uploaded. I can paste the link if it's like a YouTube video or a website too. In this case, I'll click upload files. And I believe I have something that I just did the night before for my homework. So as you can see, this is just a sample document that I have. I'll click open. It's loading my document. I'll select the category. For the sake of training, I'll select art and design. I believe students have to add some sort of short description in order to publish. So I would say this is a test, for example. But I would encourage students to do a short description of their project, skills, tools, and software I use. So I will say communication skills for the sake of training right now. If it's a group project, I can actually add my teammates to a group project. So if I did it together with Kathy, I could add Kathy as a teammate. I can add tags, although I don't think they are required. This is more for like social media. If someone wants to share their work on a social media, and I will hit publish. This is where it gets another little tricky. I need to check visibility option, and I want to make sure that this will be made public. If it's not made public, you as an instructor probably won't be able to preview it. The default setting in Folio is private, which means that no one can really view my work, any assignment I have submitted, unless I share that link specifically with someone else. So even though I say public in visibility option, unless someone actually knows the link, specifically that assignment, they will not be able to find it. And in this case, I don't want people to comment, and I will click done. Of course, I'm not a robot, and I'll publish the project. Oh, I forgot to put a project title. I'm sorry. I would say August training. I'm gonna type to the training test. Okay, and I will hit publish again. My visibility option should be safe. I do not want to share it on Twitter, and I'll publish my project. So there's my project. So now what I actually need to do is to copy the link that I can paste into my assignments. I'll click share, copy link to project, because like I said, no one can really find it unless they have the link to my project. And I will go to my folio. Oops, sorry, go to my Canvas course. And I'll go to my assignments. And assignment portfolio, 10 points. And I'll click Start Assignment on the right-hand side and ask me for website URL. I'll basically paste that link, which I copied from my folio. Now I'll click Submit Assignment. And I have more than one attempt. So if I need to, resubmit the same link, I can do that too. So at this time, I submitted my assignment as a student, and Kathy will show you how it looks on your side when it comes to grading and scoring it. I'll stop sharing.
All right, so I'm going to go back and share my screen and go back into that assignment. So just refresh here. Okay, so I'm going to click into the assignment, and over on the right, I'm going to go to SpeedGrader. Okay, so the biggest difference here is notice, so I'm viewing what Adam uploaded here. I can click on it to open it in a new window if I want. The biggest thing is I can't mark up on this. So I don't have my markup tools on the top. So I can read what he put here. I can give him points. So I made it worth 10 points. So I'm going to add the points. When I need to score the rubric, I can click View Rubric. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to score the rubric. The one thing to note is when I score the rubric, it doesn't actually show points for the student. See, it shows 0 out of 0 at the bottom. So this is mainly for the integrations curriculum, the committee. So I'm scoring this so they can see this information. If I wanted to add comments, I can add comments. And then I'm going to save this. Biggest thing, you'll have to hit save. And then at the bottom, just like before, this isn't different, submit, just so it keeps all of my comments and the score. And then I could move on to my next student. But again, the biggest thing here is I don't have my tools at the top. I can click on it if I want to view it in a bigger window, to view in a new tab or a bigger window. Otherwise, I can see what he submitted right in the middle section. If I go back to the gradebook, I can see the 10 points that I gave him for that assignment. If I put this as not worth any points, I wouldn't have to add any points here. So you can set up 2 assignments. What we've heard from some faculty is if they have their own rubric they want to use for scoring, or they want to mark up on the paper, I could just duplicate this assignment and then make one just with the rubric and one for my scoring purposes. But then the student, when they come in, they'd be able to view what I put for a score. They could view the comments that I've added. And I'll just close out of that tab. And I'll stop sharing for a moment. All right, Adam, can you think of anything I missed in that process? Or
No, I don't see anything. Yeah, the only thing, like Kathy said, sometimes others have their own highly specific rubric to the same assignment, and combining the rubrics, while possible, can be time consuming, a little bit complicated. It may kind of change the points because now those points from that integration rubric will go to your new rubric. So if you really want to go that route, creating 2 assignments is ideal, and making sure that this assignment with the rubric does not count toward your final grade. But I want to be specific. This is only if you have your own specific rubric for that assignment, or you want to be able to use those markup features when students upload a document to Canvas. Yes, Beth.
Sorry, I just have some questions about how this integrates. So we can't check don't use this for grading, but so does it happen, like, let's say we do the, we do the assessment, et cetera, and they get 10 points. How do we, but I don't want them to get 10 points because they're getting like an A, B, C, D, E, whatever in my.
So that 10 points, that was just as an example.
Yeah.
And our purpose behind that was that whatever you score on that rubric is sort of a separate from your grade or your grading system. And if you want to add them 5 points, you put 5. If you want to if you grade based on, A, B, C, you can do that too. It really depends on your grading scheme. And Kathy can show you right now how she can probably change the points right now.
Yeah, so I was just going to go through. So if you have a
I understand that. I just thought that if you did the scoring for the rubric, they would both get whatever score for the rubric as well as whatever grade, but that's not what happens.
Oh, no,
that's not.
Yeah, the rubric won't add into their score at all. That's just on the back end. Good question.
Yep, great question. I think the rubric is based on outcomes, but the reason they had to add the point is for their assessment purposes on the back end. So that's the way to sort of automatically assess things on the back end. But great question.
And the other thing I wanted to point out too is we do have a video for students, and it's on the teaching and learning site, and it's on our instructional technology site to show them what they need to do from their end of things. And I'll show you where to find that, and we'll take time for questions, but I just wanted to show you that there is resources out there for the students as well that you could even send them a link to if they needed to, if you needed to. So if I go to our instructional technology site, and I believe it is in the teaching and learning, and this recording will be in the teaching and learning course too after today as reference if you needed to go back to it. But when I go to our instructional technology site, on this left-hand side, we have all of our technology training listed. So anything we do training on or support, and there's one, if I scroll down, for student folios. And then the very first thing here is the video for students. So it walks them through the steps that Adam did, showing them how to access their folio, how to create a new project, and how to attach that link. And then we're also willing, if you want us to come into your classroom at any time and show this to the students, we can. Actually, we have quite a few faculty who are asking that. So the students have their laptops and we can make sure they get into it. And if you have a sample assignment, that way we know that they've all done it and they know how to get there. So that's an option too. But what questions do people have?
I guess my question is, if I'm a student and this is worth 0 points or maybe only a couple, what's my incentive to do it? Like, why would I go? Because I feel like a lot of my students probably will want to skip this. What will it message them or cue them? That they have to do this.
If you put in the due date for it, it'll show them that they have that on their to-do list. And I think in one of our previous trainings, one of the professors said that they're just going to tell the students that this is for assessment, and it's really important, on our end of things, to assess the work and how things are going. And they said they were going to just be real transparent with the students, and hopefully the students will upload the assignments they need to for both. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Adam, but
I think that's a great question, Steve. I think a lot of the assignments students will be submitting for folio is also something they have to submit for a grade. So it's just that you'll be assigning your letter grade, amount of points, etc., on the top of using the rubric. So if I'm in your class and I want to actually submit the assignment that you asked me to do, unless I'm like, I don't want to do it, then, I don't get any points. Does that help, Steve? Because the points you see on the rubric, like I said, are separate from however you are structuring your course. And like Beth, for example, uses probably letters versus numbers. Everyone is different. So this is flexible. I hope that helped a little bit.
Yep.
I have a question. If it is a group project, does each member of the group need to upload then the same thing?
No, so you would just have one person. Well, let's see, if it's a group project, they still would need to each upload it to their folio.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, unless I'm just trying to think of an easier way through that. I know
And I
that
would have to grade the rubric for each person in the group then.
I would say if you create a group in Canvas, then you probably grade it once. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Kathy.
no,
So
I
let's say
think
if you have, if it's a group project, probably the best way is to actually create a group. So then only one person per group needs to submit that assignment. And then you will see that in a speed grader as the actual group.
right. And I was just going to double check in that, and I could share my screen again because you can do the group thing. Go here. So if I turn on, oops, set up my group. So I'm back in my project here. I'm going to say it's a group assignment. It won't let me because people have submitted already. If you don't mind, I'll just do this really quick. And we had a couple people who actually didn't, they were in the waiting room and didn't get allowed in. So I'll just go through this, adding the assignment again real quick. So adding an assignment, just like before. And you'll fill in, just like before, the title and the instructions. And I put the title for Common Good. It just helps with the students too, when they're adding it in, to know which this is for. Upload or attach your link here. Because the biggest thing again is they aren't uploading their paper here. They're uploading it to their folio and just attaching a link. But then if I go down here, it's a website URL and then group assignment. So when I choose my group assignment, you can assign grades to each student individually. Otherwise, once you choose your group and they upload, so they would have to upload it to their folio if you wanted each student to have it in their own folio. But then when they come into Canvas, one student would come to this assignment that's in the group and attach the link to the assignment, unless you wanted to do them each individually. But if you left that setting off when you save and publish it, then only one student would have to go into this assignment and attach the link to it. Did that help?
Yes, it did.
Okay, good. Other questions?
Just quickly, Kathy and Adam, thank you for doing this. I have a follow-up to Mary's question, and then I have a separate question. So creating, I know how to create the groups for an assignment in Canvas, and I saw that students can put their group members into the assignment in Folio. But so do they each individually have to upload to their folios, or if they add their group members, will it automatically go to all of their folios?
If they have their group members in Folio, as long as that other person has their Folio set up, they go in there and log in, then it'll put a copy of it into each of their folios. The only thing with that is, so let's say I upload the project and I add Adam as one of my members in my group, and then it goes into his projects. He can't edit it at all in Folio. He can see it there and share it and so forth. He just couldn't edit it. Whoever the owner or the person that uploads it, they would be able to edit and delete and so forth.
Okay, thanks. That's helpful. Second question. In the folio assignments where you go to upload files, can students upload more than one file?
Yes, they can upload. So they can upload more than one file, but the thing with that, they have to do it when they're in it. Do you still have your Makerspace account open, Adam?
Yes, I am. Let me just share that quickly.
Yeah, share it and I'll show you, because once they save it, well, actually, I think they can even after they save it.
Okay, so let me go to my folio.
Yep.
Oops, sorry, let's go to my folio.
And let's do a test on the one that you created. If you go to click on your Makerspace name there.
Oh, and go to my Makerspace. Okay.
No, you're right. Yeah.
Yep. And we'll go to my projects.
Yeah.
So believe what is for the training? Art and design. Oh, no, I think it's this one. Let me see if I can find that. Well, we'll just use this one at Agriculture National Resources. So I can hit edit. And it says assessment folio. Let me upload a different file, which is the same one that I used. And I will say file upload test. And I say August. Okay, so now I upload a new file. So it looks like it keeps my 2 files. And I could probably delete this one. And let's see if I can do that. Delete this attachment. Just as well, I'll click Save Changes. And let me see. File upload test August. Let me just look at that project. So it looks like I am able to upload and change the file.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. So if, let's say you have like I do presentations and I want them to be able to both upload a set of slides and also a document that's a written, outline or notes or anything. Those both could then display just under the same assignment if I just keep both in there.
Yes, it should technically. So
okay.
Let's try it with some other file. Let me just upload this assessment training file, hit open, and we'll save changes. And what I'm going to do, Kathy, is copy that project link quickly, and I'm going to paste it again to the assignment you created so we can really know it's going to work. Okay, because I have, go to assignments, assignment portfolio, and I'll have a new attempt and I will paste the URL and I'll submit the assignment. Okay, so now I'll stop sharing. And if you want to pull it on your site, Kathy, see how it looks like. That's a good question, Emily. I usually like to check things myself before I give you a firm answer.
Yep, so it's showing me both here. So if I wonder if, I don't think it was made public, but yeah, it should show both submissions. Notice at the top.
I'm going to change it, Kathy, quickly. Sorry, I'm going to make that change it to public. Thank you for catching that.
The other really nice thing is before, when students had to upload right to Portfolium for the assignment for you, if they had to resubmit it, you had to go to Portfolium and you had to invite them to do that again. Where in this, they can just submit it if you leave unlimited or put a number of attempts. They can go in and resubmit or add more to it. So that's kind of a nice thing too as well.
I changed it to public, Kathy, if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah. Let me just go back here. Sometimes I have to refresh it a few times.
What happens if you click on that link, Kathy? I'm curious.
There we go. It just was being. So you'll notice I have an arrow so I can see both projects that he uploaded.
So technically, students can
you.
upload as many files as they want. Yes, Cindy. Oh, Cindy, I think you're muted.
My internet was unstable, so you may have answered this already, but for the collaboration learning outcomes presumably it would be a group project. It seems like the default would have to be that each person would upload the project into Folio, because when they get to learning integrations, they should all have the capacity to edit the project. Is that accurate?
Yep.
That's a good
Yes.
point.
Well, I suppose. So I suppose there's a technical part to it, which is, yes, only one person can upload that, and there is a practical part, but this is just my own perspective, and you may disagree with me, of them having a record of their academic progress and work throughout their academic career. So to me, that the second one sort of makes more sense, although it's probably a little bit inconvenient because it adds more work or a little bit more steps. But like you said, Cindy, then they can edit their own work if they want to.
Right. And there's no way for anyone to know ahead of time which projects they'll need to work with in learning integrations. So they need to have not only access to all of their work, but the ability to edit all of their work.
Yeah, so then it probably would be a good idea to just have them upload it to their own project. Good point. Katie, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a really rudimentary question. Like, do justice and truth and those things have rubrics? So in ways of knowing no longer has rubrics? So does that mean you still have to upload something, don't you? You just don't have to grade it? Is that the
That's
idea?
a great question, Katie.
I can answer that if you. So students have to have an artifact for the theme in their folio, but you do not have to do any assessment for it. It's just for them to access and learning integrations. And the ways of thinking don't have any assessment.
This is the happiest I've been since August hit.
Great.
I have one more quick question, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can
Yes,
instructors upload things to student folios? No, the reason I ask is sometimes we have presentations and I'll do like Zoom recordings, right? So I'll have like the video recording file for the student. And in the past, I've just shared that from my OneDrive and told them they have to download it and then upload it. It'd be easier if I could just put it into their folio, but if that's not
I don't know if you can. Well, I suppose you can do it in their folio. If they enable comments, you can add it in their comments. So I'll actually share my screen quickly. So you have two ways. Let me just go back to my Google Chrome, and I'll click. I'll actually exit that. I'll click on Edit Project. I'll just discard the draft. And I will save changes. And I believe, oops, sorry, let me just go back to edit. There was that option where I could allow comments. I know. Do you remember, Kathy, where that was?
When you hit save, I think.
Oh, maybe what was here?
There we go. Maybe not.
Let me just see what happens here. I wonder if you can just add a comment right here.
Right.
So you could you can add a comment. I think the default is actually you are enabling comments, and I actually disabled that in another option. So you can just, it's just whatever mediocre comment, and I can click add comment. So you can do it that way. You can also do it in a speed grader if that's how you want it to access that too, which means you can upload video just similar than you are grading any other assignment. So that's probably the way I would do it, but I don't think you have an option to like upload another document to their folio. Kathy, do you want to show us SpeedGrader one more time, so you can show where to, if someone wants to upload a comment? So one work around, those annotation features are important to a lot of people. However, you can download students' paper to Microsoft Word. You can annotate all of that in Microsoft Word and upload the exact same file to inside a speed grader. You can do a video comment if you want. If you are using Google Chrome, they have a very nice speech to text feature. So instead of typing a comment, you can just talk it out loud. It will transcribe that to you right away.
Yep, so at the bottom here, if you wanted to, you could attach the PowerPoint with the paperclip. You would have to go to each student. You can do the media comment like Adam was talking about. So you could record a comment or just audio comment. So you have all those options still available at the bottom. If you did download, have their paper, you could reattach it with a paper clip. So like if you had it and made markings or comments, annotations on it, you could reattach it with a paper clip too.
All right, Beth, you have your hand raised.
Okay. Adam, can I see the student page again, like as if they were doing the assignment?
Yep. Okay, so let me just open Google Chrome. So I'll just go to my, so that's a training course Kathy was using. So I'll go to assignments. And there's assignment portfolio right here.
All
and
right.
it does show the rubric. In this
Yep.
case, this specific rubric.
Now do a new attempt.
Let me do a new attempt.
All right, and now
I'm just going to paste URL that I believe already submitted.
okay.
So
But wait, scroll down. Can you scroll down? There was something else I was seeing when you were submitting an assignment, and it asked you to do things like skills. What was it? Skills, tools, and software.
Oh, yes. That's okay. So that
one.
Yes, that is actually in folio. So
Okay.
if I go back to my folio, so I'll actually go to my account and I will go to my folio. I'll just leave, that's fine. And I'll go to my projects. Right, so this is my project. But if I'm gonna go and upload a new project, so actually all the skills show, will show up on the left. But if I go to my folio and I'll click new project, you're probably asking for this.
Yes.
Skills, tools, and software.
Yes.
You can improve these suggestions. Teammates, tags are more for social. Yep.
So let me ask you this: at the skills, tools, and software, do students have to add one of those? Is that required in order for them to publish their work?
No, that's optional.
So they don't have to do that.
No, it's just optional for them. I mean, we would encourage them probably if they're going to use this as their folio to add in the skills and even a description. So when they come to their final integrations course, they're like, well, what did I do this project for? So a description is really helpful, but the skills and the categories piece, that's optional for them.
But it looks like, Adam, did you just try and do it with nothing?
Yep. I'm going to try with nothing. Description is empty. I'll publish that. And it works. So I was wrong. Everything can be left empty, including description. And I'll change my visibility option to public. That's actually
just
really
the
important.
Visibility option that needs
Yep.
to. Could you go back and let me see that again?
Yep. So I click visibility option and it's private, means only me, connection, portfolio members, and then public.
Okay.
Right here.
So that's the essential one, because otherwise
that is the essential one. And our
I mean, it'd be great if they do all the other stuff, but I know they're not going to do it.
Yeah, they're not going to do it
unless they're forced to. So I can ask.
And I was talking about settings. Do you remember, Kathy, where those security settings were?
Oh, if they want to change them, click on your name at the top and go to settings.
Settings.
And then over on the left, if you go to privacy.
Yep. So as you can see, I was talking about, the privacy. So the default one the default settings are private. So even right now, I prevent employers from contacting me and finding my profile, even though that assignment is public, but realistically, only someone with a link will be able to view it, which is you as an instructor. And on the top of that, it's behind a secure site, which is Canvas. So that's another layer of protection. Great question, but yeah, so technically they can only submit the file and they don't have to do anything else. Yes, Shannon.
Thanks. I was typing some more questions while I was doing that. So I want to follow up on a couple of things, and I'm trying to think from the student user experience at this stage, because the things that seem to really stump students were there's an assignment in Canvas, but also they had to do something in Portfolio, and they didn't like doing 2 steps for that. For students, have you encountered any challenges either uploading videos? Because I had some that an MP3 of a certain size they couldn't upload. Was there any problem with that, or with Google Drive? Because students often are just trying to share Google Drive links, and sometimes in my own email, I'm like, I can't open that. Have you encountered any challenges there?
Yeah, as far as Google Drive, if they don't set up the permissions to share with you, you won't be able to open it. So we encourage them to upload it to a different space, upload it right there or to their OneDrive and share. But if Google Drive can be a little tricky, as far as file size, I think videos now are okay. I know that they've improved a bit with the video piece. I know if they try to upload a video directly from their iPhone, it doesn't work because it doesn't allow HVI, whatever they are, HEC files. We have directions though on our page for students, which I can show you before we're done. So if they do record it on their phone, it tells them how to convert it to an MP4 file or the right type of file. So I can show you that too. Yeah. And I'll show it to you right now since I'm.
Yeah. And while Kathy is pointing it up, so MP files are fairly small in general, so you shouldn't have problem with that. Video, well, it depends, of course, how big it is. As far as Google Drive, I'll go as far as my suggestion is put in syllabus, you will not accept any Google Drive links, period. Mainly because unless, like Kathy said, someone gives you a permission, you won't be able to view it. And there is a problem. My Google Drive account is completely separate from St. Ben, St. John's. So what students will do, they will put my work email. Well, that's in my Google account. And there it is, 15 minutes wasted trying to figure out this puzzle. Do that with 5 students, and there's your hour in a day lost. Save yourself some headache and say, don't email me the files. The assignment is on Canvas. It's a file upload. There it is, 20 emails saved. Don't send me the Google Drive links. I will not look at them. I will not accept them. Put a OneDrive link on Canvas. There it is, another, how many hours saved in a week. This is just my suggestion. Maybe sounds a little bit too, I know, but they need to, students have certain responsibility to learn basic computer literacy, how to share the file sooner or later. So that's just my 2 cents. Sorry, Kathy.
Nope, you're fine. So I brought this up. This is the page I was on before with the video at the top, but below it, we have instructions for students how to set up, or for you, because you can set up a folio as well, to set it up, how to personalize, getting a project for Canvas. And then here we have a link to embedded media videos where it kind of goes through if they're, how to change the video type and stuff. So this is a really good resource you could also send a link to your students with, and it includes the video and everything on it on this page.
Thanks, Kathy and Adam.
Great question.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, I have a few little nitpicky things, or just details that I have a feeling will come back at some point. So this is, things were moved from Portfolio into Folio, which they are still accessing through Canvas. But for first year students who don't have anything in Portfolium, they're still going to be using Folio. So it's not a completely different site, but they still have to go to this Folio interface and not just their regular Canvas, right? Like they have to sort of have, you know, their own profile and all of that. So it's still sort of a two-step thing for them. It seems that way to me, but am I misunderstanding?
It's still just right through Canvas. So it's actually, they don't have to go to a different site at all. So when they come into Canvas, let's say they're on their main dashboard when they first log in. To get to their Folio now, they just go to their account tab at the top, and Folio is right here. And if they, this ePortfolio, these two are going to be combined into one, hopefully in September, so they just have one link. But when they go to Folio, whether or not they've set up a portfolio site or not, they could start a new project right from here. Or if they want to go to their portfolio and set up, like I have an image and tagline, they can click on their name or their picture, and it's going to open up into their portfolio. And this piece will stay. This won't go away. So they can set up this as much as they want if they, you know, want to go in there. And then under their portfolio tab, that's where the projects they create go, and they'll stay here.
So what I'm still thinking though, they still have to upload this thing. They're not just making it come straight into our Canvas page as they would, you know, if I said, here's a paper for class, upload it, done. They're done with the assignment. There's still this sort of two-step process. And so part of what I'm asking is, to follow up on Katie and Emily's conversation about ways of thinking or theme, if they need to have it in their folio for a justice theme, and I just tell them to do it and hope they do it? Or do I need, what students would ask me all the time is, could you just set up an assignment for us? Because then that prompts us to do it, and it's so much easier, and I'd have 0 points on it, and I'd have like 3 different things for an assignment. Here's the one I'll actually grade, here's the one for justice, and here's the one for human experience, and they're just uploading the same thing 3 times, but they'd rather do that so they didn't forget a piece. Am I essentially going to be doing that same thing, or just trusting that they go to their folio tab and upload the assignment for the way of thinking and the theme?
Well, right. And I think some of it has to be put onto them as well, because this is helping them in their future. If they're setting up any type of resume or LinkedIn, they still have to go in there and put their information in there or their projects. But what we've done too, which is helpful, is when you have an assignment that they have to just put in their folio, you could even have them watch that video we have. I think it's only like 5 minutes, and then have them upload it at that time. So they're all doing it at the same time. So kind of like an assignment in your class, but just doing it in your class. Or we can come into your class as well, and you have the assignment that they need to upload. We walk through and walk around and make sure they're all in their folio and upload it there. Either way, you know, I don't think you need to put more work on your plate, you know, adding the double. I think that they should be able to take some of the ownership and upload it to their folio. But again, that's just my opinion.
So I would say it's a great question, Shannon, too. I would say my suggestion is I would bring it up to academic affairs and maybe to Carol Dodders, because I may not fully understand it, but if I understood you correctly, students will have to upload the same 3 times. Is that
right?
Well,
my understanding is the goal with bringing Folio into Canvas is that they wouldn't have to be doing it so many times. But like, for example, I anticipate when I'm grading an assignment, I'm going to use my own rubric, my own comments, and then I will have them do it a second time for, you know, race and gender, so I can, you know, grade those. And
is your rubric on Canvas, Shannon? Do you know?
yeah, I use rubrics on Canvas, but I don't want to combine them. I want my comments, my annotations, like I want them to know this is me saying these things about their work that they did. And then here's this assessment piece. And that is something different. So honestly, I was wondering, can we even hide the assessment piece? So students can't see if I put like minimally meets requirements, because I can definitely imagine whether they're getting points or not. There will be students who are like, why did I get minimal on this thing that has no effect whatsoever on my grade? But they will see that and stress out if they didn't get straight like outstandings across the board. So is there any way to hide that from them so they can't see how we're assessing them, when it actually has nothing to do with, from their end, it has nothing to do with the course. That's totally just us.
Right.
Or just wait until the semester's over and then they can't see it anyway.
Right. So currently there isn't a way to hide that. And we've had that question before. And that's what some professors said. They were just going to wait till the end of the course and then do the rubric for the ones they needed to assess, just because then it doesn't cause any worry with the student or they're not coming back to you asking. Good
but
question.
I still need to have them added at that time just so they don't forget, right? If they're submitting the assignment in November, I want them to have that done to think about.
Yep.
Yep. And then my last question. Oh, go ahead.
And I would explain them, Shannon, that this is just something you need to do for institutional assessment, and it will not count toward their final grade. If you go that route, make sure there's that option when you create the assignment. There's a checkbox that says "Do not count this toward the final grade." And I think you still have to assign 1 point. You cannot put 0. Just that's the only way it's going to work. So then it's excluded in Canvas calculation on the grade.
Good.
Yeah. Sorry, you had a second question.
And actually, I have to run to another training. So Adam, I'm going to make you the owner of this so you can keep the good questions going.
Yep.
Thank you.
My last one was just if I'm using like the cultural and social identity rubric, but I'm only going to use the ones for race and gender and leave the speak out. Can I rename that for myself so that I know that that's the one that I'm not using all the cultural and social identity ones, or just leave it alone?
I'll just leave it alone. I would click that pencil icon and edit. You can edit all those rubrics and just delete what you don't need.
Okay.
So when you go to that rubric, like Kathy showed you, we use the master one because often people ask, I have, let's say, 3 outcomes. So we have to add 1, 2, and 3. So what we've seen others do is just import just this master one and delete what they don't need. Or another one is, just add the outcome that you want. So I wouldn't be renaming it. I know that's going to change much on institutional level or not, but I wouldn't be renaming it. I'll just leave it as it is. Yes, Beth.
Thanks, Al.
Sorry, I'm asking a question that I am pretty sure you answered, but I didn't understand. So we've got these assigned. We've got an assignment that's going to count, whatever. I'm going to grade it. It's assignment for the course. It's also an assignment that meets one of the learning outcomes. If I try to put that all in one assignment, I include the rubric for the learning, whatever, for the IC, and but I do my own grading. Mm-hmm. If I do the assessment, when I do that grading, they will see those meets expectations or minimal, whatever. They will see it. So in order for them not to see it, I would actually have to grade it twice. I would have to grade it for the class, and then I'd have to go back to the end of the semester, reread all those papers, and do the assessment again. I just want to make sure I understand this.
Well, yes. You don't want them to see it, right?
Right. So, but they will see it unless I have 2 separate assignments. But even if I have 2 separate assignments,
they will still see it.
Dang. So basically, right. So I'm screwed. I'll have to grade twice.
Well,
But I mean, I do. I have to read them twice.
well, so my question is, why do you want to add yourself extra work, right? I would say you have to grade once if you have your own rubric and you have your own system, kind of like Shannon had, right? They're gonna see your grade anyway.
But that's fine. They can see the grade that I give them in the comments I give them. I don't care. That's what I want them to see. What I don't want them to see is meets expectations, minimal meets, or whatever it is, because that is totally confusing. Because they're going to see my comments. Which one are they going to value? Oh gosh, they're going to value this one or this one. No, I want them to value mine.
It's a good question, Beth.
And I'm not blaming you.
No, you're not blaming.
This is not an attack on you. It's an attack on.
No, I know. I totally get it.
But I'm just trying to make sure
here's my suggestion. I would definitely bring it up to Carol Daughters, because I can tell you throughout the training, this is a common sort of a motif we hear when Kathy and I are doing a training. And I really don't have a control over the system, right?
I know that. I'm just trying to make sure I understand the system before I go and ask.
Yes. I don't think there's a way. To me, potentially it makes sense. At least have an option, to hide it, because I suppose it's internal institutional thing. But my suggestion would be maybe contact Carol Daughters. We that's sometimes when we tell in our training classes when there's a question that we don't really know, or it's really way above what we can do.
Sure, that's cool. That I will try not to.
Because even if you're doing it twice, I mean, each time you attach the rubric, students will see it, because they have to attach a link in Folio so you can actually use that rubric, right? So no matter what, it's going to be an assignment, whether it's graded or not, except you'll be using this rubric. Students will see it no matter what, and even though it's a 0 point.
Right. But wait, just one more thing. Let's say I don't want to have two separate things. If I do it even in one, never mind. That's not a good question. The point is that if I should score the rubric for the IC at any time during the semester, students will see that.
Yes.
But let's say at the end of the semester, I decide to do that. Can I score a rubric in Canvas after the semester is over and the course is closed?
Yes, you can do that. The downside is each of the courses has to be reopened on our end.
Gotcha. Okay. I just want to get it all out.
No, that is a good question. Sometimes we reopen Canvas courses. There's an incomplete,
right,
or someone else maybe needs to be added as a teacher because they want to be able to see their content. So yes, that is a possibility. But after the grades are in, course has to be, reopened.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. Kelly, you have a question, and Cindy has a question. Oh, Kelly, did you have a question?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I know that in the past I have been able to update grades onto Canvas and not make it visible to students till I'm ready. Is that an option, perhaps?
You are able to add the grades and not make them visible to students?
There's an option on Canvas where the grades don't have to be visible to students yet.
Oh.
And I'm wondering if that might be a way to get around this.
Is it just Overall grade or for a specific assignment?
Per assignment.
Really? Well, let me just check that quickly, because if that's possibility, then that would actually fix it.
It's a manual. It's like you manually, it says manual grading. So instead of like automatically, giving a grade to students the minute it hits you type in the grade, you can manually do it and hold all the grades until you're done and then release them.
Okay, hide the total grade from students. Okay, looks like that's a great question. It looks like, okay, so you have to set a manual policy for assignment. It can
Kelly,
only
that's a
happen
good
from a
solution.
grade book. Well, you know what? Let me just.
I wonder if they'll see any comment. Do they see comments? Because that's what the rubric would be, right?
No, comments in Canvas is actually comment, so I don't think they would see that.
Oh,
But
so the rubric, would that be visible or no? It shouldn't be.
You know what? Let's actually, because Kelly asked a good question, and to be honest, I don't know the answer, and I don't want to pretend I know. So let me see if I can log into Canvas. Okay. And I'm just go to school website. See, I want to test it out. See if I can actually hide an assignment in Gradebook, because that may actually fix a lot of concerns people have. Okay, so let me just share my screen. Okay, so let me just go to this CR training course and go to assignments. So I think that may be access. So we'll go to assignment portfolio. Now go to speed grader. Okay, let me just go to my gradebook right here. And click on those three dots. Hide grades. I don't know if you guys see that. Enter grade as. So if I click hide grade, okay, assignment portfolio, hide grade, specific sections. Okay. While the grades for this assignment are hidden, students will not receive new notifications about or able to see. Okay. Students will be able to see that the grades for these assignments are hidden. So they will see that the grades for these assignments are hidden, but they won't see the grade. So that is a potential solution. So let me just hide it.
As long as there are two separate assignments. So students would upload one that you do for assessment and one that they do for the class.
Yeah, so that's hidden, I believe.
And the grade posting policy is the other option.
Grade posting policy is another option.
Where you could change it to manual rather than automatic.
Yeah. Yep.
And that does it for everybody, because I've gotten bitten in the past that I had released to some students but hidden for others, and then it released to others. So I now, Kelly, you're right. Like this manual does it for everybody.
So let me just log out from this account, and I'm going to log into a student account. Okay, so I'm a student, and so I see the assignment, and I'll go to my grades, and it says assignment portfolio. I'm curious, what does that?
But you have already, you were already graded.
Yeah, already graded. Yeah. So that is a potentially a good solution. Thank you, Kelly, for suggesting that. I didn't know that's an option. Students may still see the grade is hidden, And at the same time, students don't really, I think, look at that detail, or the manual policy like you suggested, Shannon. That may be a good idea. Great question, Kelly. I mean, great tip. Yeah, so that might be so in that case, following what you said, but boy, you may need to do 2 assignments. You're less screwed because students don't see the grade. If that's, if that's your preference. And yeah, you can, because they will still have to, they will still have to upload the file to their folio. And that's when you may have to explain them that you're doing that for, institutional purposes for the assessment, and then they probably won't see the grade. Did that help? Thank you, Kelly. That's a good idea. Cindy, you had a question too.
And this conversation solved the issue that I was going to bring up, which is that if you reopen the course at the end of the semester, it's still going to generate those notifications to students that some new grade has been posted. So I don't think going back at the end of the semester, reopening the course and using the rubric then would achieve anything.
Yeah, you could do that. I think really, so there are different, so I suppose there are some tricks that you can do. I'm all about personally keeping things simple, right? Because you could publish the assignment and then you can unpublish the assignment, and, which means you have to go back. I can see that adding up to quite a few things you need to do on your side. I like what Kelly suggested, maybe do it twice and hide the grade for that assignment, or just grade manually like Shannon suggested, and don't release grade for the assessment portion. That may be a very effective way that may potentially save you quite a few steps. You can open course, but that adds a lot of work really, really fast. And like you said, Cindy, it's still gonna add notifications. And do you want to really do that after you're done with your grading? Yep, I'm with you, Cindy. So I really, my suggestion would be just keep it simple and hide the grade. And which means you have to, do 2 assignments. You still have to tell students, hey, you need to, follow the steps and upload your thing to folio. So I hope that was helpful. Any other? Madhu, you have a question.
Yeah, let's say I hide the grades of the one that's just for the assessment purpose, not for mine. And I explain it to the students that it's not important. It's not being counted towards your final grade. It just stays hidden. And, hope to persuade them that you don't even have to look at it. It's just going to stay hidden the whole time. That doesn't make the assessment itself, my scoring of the rubric, invisible to whoever else needs to look at it, the assessment team, right?
No, as long as you attach the rubric and you actually score it,
right.
By hiding, by basically that grade in a speed grader, you are hiding it from a student. So if I'm in your class, Madhu, I won't see that. And I actually want to be specific because the way the rubric is designed, it doesn't really add any point or a grade value, right? So they will not see how you scored the rubric, because even if you score them on the best or the worst, that will not affect their grade, because this is not how rubric has been designed. But to answer your question directly, Madhu, it will not affect things on as long as you scored it.
So if we persuade the students that, don't worry about that, it's just going to stay hidden, it's not for you, it doesn't count towards your final grade, and hope that they are satisfied with that, then we can probably do it during the semester as well.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. But yep. Great questions, everybody. Any other questions? Oh, that's going to be a long training session. Yeah, I mean, there are different ways of doing it. You know, if you grading that assignment, right, and if you really think they did very adequate job, chances are you will score that rubric the same way. Chances are, if you think they didn't do a good job, you will score that rubric the same way, right? So, yeah, but there are different ways of doing it. Again, you know, there, however, you know, you, however you want to do it. But my suggestion is, I like what Shannon said and what Kelly said. I think if you want to hide it, that will be the easiest way to do it. Right? Any other questions? Well, we are here to help. So if you have any questions, please let me or Kathy know. And like you suggested, Beth, if you still want to maybe contact Academic Affairs, I would encourage you to do that. I think, you know, it's a new process for all of us, and I do hope it's going to work. But, you know, that's a common motif we have heard. But yeah, we're able to come to your class if you want us to. Probably you can do it in 10 minutes, probably no more than 10. Walk your students through. If you want, just let me or Kathy know, and we'll help you out. So I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks, everyone.